Hello and welcome to the Absolute Beginner Guitar Lesson Series. My name is Oliver and today's lesson is lesson number 16. And today's lesson is a second in a series of lessons that are centered around notes that are on the G string. The subject of today's lesson is root note G string major chord fingerings. The first parameter I want to establish is that these chords that we're going to be playing are 3-note chords, and we're going to be only using the first 3 strings of the guitar. So that is the E string, the B string, and the G string. And also, all of the root notes of these major chords are going to be found on the G string. So we're going to be using our knowledge of the notes on the G string in order to help us find and play these chords. And all of the root notes of these major chords will be notes that are in the C major scale. This isn't a set of scale tone chords. This is not a musical exercise. We are really merely trying to learn how to play these chords. And because we've been working with the C major scale, we have a familiar set of notes that we're working with. The first major chord that we're going to play is the A major chord. And as always, whenever we're going to play a chord, the first thing we need to do is we need to locate the root note of the chord. So I need to locate the note A on the G string. And I can locate that note at the 2nd fret of the G string. So we have our root note A at the 2nd fret of the G string. And right now you see me just using my index finger to play this chord. There are times when the middle finger can be used to play at this note. And there are other times when the ring finger may be used to play at this note. So I want you to practice playing this chord with different fingers for the root note. So anyway, we have the root note A at the 2nd fret of the G string. So now let's look to what we're going to play on the B string. And what I want you to do on the B string is I want you to play at the 2nd fret. So now we're going to use a different finger to play the note on the B string. And I'm going to use my middle finger. So I'm just going to place my middle finger on the 2nd fret of the B string. So now we have the note at the 2nd fret on the G string, which is the root note A, and we have the note at the 2nd fret on the B string. And the last thing I want you to do is on the E string, I want you to play the E string open. So when we play all 3 notes together, starting on the G string, we have, and this is our A minor chord. Now this chord fingering that we're using has an open string in the chord. So it's what I like to call an open string fingering. And because of it's the nature of these open string fingerings, this chord fingering is going to be specific to our A major chord. So the next chord we want to play is B major. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to locate the B root note on the G string. And we're at A, which is at the 2nd fret of the G string. We need B, so we need to move up a whole step or 2 frets. So we can find our root note B on the 4th fret of the G string. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my ring finger to play this B note, this root note. So we're playing at the 4th fret on the G string, which is the B note, our root note. So now let's look to what we're going to play on the B string. Well, we need to maintain the relationship between the notes in order to keep the chord major. So as we did when we played the A major chord, we're going to play at the same fret on the B string as the root note. So the root note is at the 4th fret on the G string. So we're going to play the note at the 4th fret on the B string. And I want you to use your pinky for this note. So now we have the root note B, which is at the 4th fret of the G string. And we have the note that's at the 4th fret of the B string. Now that leaves the note that is on the E string. So we want to play at the 2nd fret on the E string. And we want to use our index finger. So we have B major. And as I stated before, this is a closed fingering. There are no open strings being used. And when a fingering is closed, it becomes movable. So now we can use this form to play our other major chords. And all we really need to do is move this around while we maintain the relationship between the strings and the notes on the strings, and we will have a major chord. So this is the basic fundamental information of the lesson. We have 2 chord fingerings, and I'm just going to go back and review those fingerings. And the first chord we had was the A major chord, which contained an open string in it. So we started with the A root note, which I played with my index finger. However, I could have easily used my middle finger to play that note. And I'm just going to do that this time. So we have the root note at the A at the 2nd fret of the B, and then the G string, and then we just played the note at the 2nd fret of the B string, which now I'm going to use my ring finger for, and then we played the open E. So now we have our A major chord, and the next chord was the B major chord. So we slid our root note up to the B note at the 4th fret, which I'm playing with my ring finger. And then we established our movable chord form. We have by maintaining the relationship between the notes. So we played at the 4th fret on the G string. That's our root note B. And then we played at the 4th fret on the B string. And then we played at the 2nd fret on the E string, which is 2 frets lower than the root note. And now we have our B major chord. And this establishes the movable chord form. And from here, all we need to do is move this chord so that we maintain the relationship between the notes. And wherever we move the chord to, the chord will be major. So now it's just a question of locating the proper root notes on the G string and moving our chord up to that note. So that's it for the lesson. And when we come back, we're going to continue our series of lessons that are centered around notes on the G string. And in the next lesson, we're going to learn how to play minor chords whose root notes are on the G string. So as always, put in your time, put in your work, and I hope to see you there. Peace.